Hello, Playdate. This is Don.
This is Nick.
And we fired Ryan. This week we are covering Playdate news.
Recent indie releases.
Thank you so much for listening. Before we get started, we have a special guest. This week we have Ollie Coe, also known as Pixel Ghost, developer of many Playdate games, including Life's Too Short, Life's the Number Too Short, Unhooked, Time from Earth, and more. Ollie, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. I'm not gonna, as already mentioned, I'm not gonna do the boops. I feel like we can have a boop-free episode, and then maybe more boops next time. It's your preference.
It sounds like you're applying for a permanent position then. If you're coming in strong with that.
Yeah, I'm good.
So we thank you so much. So if I remember right, you were not a game dev. You started with Playdate, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So my background before Playdate was in video games marketing. So I worked for Ubisoft, Nintendo, and the Lego Group. Lots of brand marketing, PR. But when Playdate came through, it got me interested in trying to do something myself. And Pulp became the platform for that. So yeah, before Playdate, no dev experience, and since then, five released and one releasing soon over the last year or so. So yeah.
Yeah. Five. I guess I see 6 on your page, but Life's Too Short is not out yet. When does Life's Too Short 2? What do you call it? Just Life's Too Short Unhooked?
Yeah, usually Unhooked is short. Yeah, it comes on the 29th of August, so that is to align with the catalog release as well. So it's already signed up for catalog, been approved. So it's on pre-order at the moment on itch, but I'm looking to do a simultaneous release on both, which is definitely beneficial because it gives me a little bit more time to debug as well. Because I have to admit, in the past I've been more in a rush to get things out excitedly, so this stops me from doing so.
So can I ask, is the run-up for catalog kind of like they give you a date and ask you to hit it, or it's just further out and they say, hey, can you hit this date? Or
yeah, so it's been different. So for a couple of the games that I've submitted, I submitted them a long time before, and then they, like for Life's Too Short and Time for Earth, were approved after the launch. For Unhooked, I've been speaking with Arissa for a little while and sort of sent a build over for them to test. The 29th of August was originally the date for Christmas Spirits catalog launch, but we decided to switch them around. So Christmas Spirits going to be launching on catalog in September, and Unhooked's got the August date. So, but I think it's due to, there's a bit of a backlog with more launches coming in between.
Cool. And it seems like they're on a pretty steady schedule with catalog.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I think it's been every couple of weeks so far.
Every other Tuesday, they've been pretty faithful. We weren't sure at first, but that's definitely been exciting to see a steady release.
Yeah.
And Life's Too Short, that was kind of one of the early games we championed. It was kind of one of the first itch games out the door, and we were like, whoa, this is like a cute little bite-sized adventure when we didn't really know what to expect from the Playdate.
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride. I remember when I first put it out there and I said, if 10 people play this, like, I'll be over the moon. If 50 play it, then it's like life-changing for me. And now it's been 1,500 or something, and it, being mentioned by you guys quite early and having good feedback. And it was just something I threw together, and the ghost actually came about because I didn't know what to draw with 8x8 pixels and managed to throw together a ghost. And from there, it's like, okay, now I'll draw a haunted house. And what did we put in haunted houses? Oh, we'll put a witch and put this, and okay, and maybe we'll connect them together. And so yeah, it's been great. And now I'm currently in the process of porting it over to Game Boy via GB Studio. So that's coming relatively soon.
Huh, cool. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of overlap with the Playdate community and the Game Boy community. I don't know much about it. And I think Nick has messed around more with the Game Boy ROM stuff, right, Nick?
I've never messed with GB Studio, but I'm aware of it.
Okay.
And Yeah, that's cool. So those tools are sort of similar to Pulp-ish. Is that
Yeah, a
correct?
little bit. I think even more intuitive GB Studio. So there's very little code.
Mhm.
It's it's a lot of, you're still using variables and using if statements, but in a different sort of way. So yeah, just four times the amount of pixels and four times the amount of colors, different shades of green instead of black and white. So it's a good kind of next step in learning different ways to do pixel art and kind of taking one more step up. But yeah, it's very intuitive, and I think also the appeal is the smaller, more engaged community. I think that's certainly been a benefit for Playdate. It's a very small, very passionate community, and you're able to be more of a big fish in a small pond, I guess.
Mhm.
And I guess that's the appeal also of Game Boy. And I love handhelds.
Yeah, that's been cool. There's been like these kind of like stars of the Playdate dev community, and you're definitely one of them. Where there's like these big names that have a growing catalog, and it's been cool. Where they were sort of unknown devs before that.
Yeah, and things
So
popping up all the time as well. Like I'm always amazed by like Castle Tintigale. I did not know how to pronounce that, but it sort of came out of nowhere. And I think what's interesting about the Playdate as well is that people that haven't made something before have suddenly launch a game that you haven't even seen the development of, and okay, and you can imagine that there's a lot more kind of bubbling away under the surface that we've yet to see, and more debut devs are able to jump into the market and get people to pay to play their games, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. Out of curiosity, so you've developed a number of games now.
Mm-hmm.
Have you dived more deeply into Lua or C, or are you still firmly engaged with Pulp for the most part?
Yeah, so the plan at the moment, it was to go from Pulp into Lua, and I messed around with it. So before I started with Pulp, I messed around in Game Maker, and I did the tutorials where it was write this code, like, write that code, write this code, write this code, test it. Okay, it works. I have no idea why. So like that was the case after Pulp with trying Lua. It
Mhm.
felt very similar. It's like this seems like a difficult step from this kind of intuitive web-based platform where getting the image to do something makes more sense to me. That's
Mhm.
why the GB Studio felt like a good next step. And at the moment, I'm also doing tutorials on Godot,
Mhm.
so that also feels like a good step further in terms of a more grown-up dev environment. So that's the plan. I imagine what will happen is I'll port Life's Too Short to PC via Godot,
Mhm.
which means that I don't have to be creative each time. I can just use the original idea and just take it one step further and one step further and have it evolve each time. So yeah, taking development more seriously is the idea over the next couple of years.
Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
cool. Yeah, it's cool to see you evolve and grow. And just before we move on, I just wanted to mention if you haven't tried Hidden, uh, Ollie's last game jam entry.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend giving that a shot. It's not kind of what I thought it was going to be, but I think everybody should try it. It's a very short game, but I felt like it was important, and I like that you talk about kind of social issues in all of your games. Like I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that all of your games have vegan options in the food, or most of them reference vegan or vegetarian options.
Yeah, I also so this comes around partly from having some guilt around not doing something more big and meaningful with my life. So
Yeah,
I figure if I'm going to make something, I want to make something that at least maybe does some good or makes someone think a bit differently. Um, I am desperately trying to not make violent games. So it's the temptation always is, maybe I make a Metroidvania, or maybe I can explore this or that combat. But for me, the middle ground of making something meaningful or exploring some sort of social issue is kind of a good balance in trying to do something meaningful with my life, but also make video games for a living. Um, so yeah, Unhooked also has a lot. Like it's a pirate game, but mostly it's been inspired by the last 8 months. I've been traveling around the world and met lots of different charities, and volunteered in places, and that again, whilst it's a humorous pirate game, is very, very centered in kind of eco issues as well. So yeah, more to come.
It's very noticeable.
Good.
The deliberate choices that you've made in your
Mhm.
in your game design or your narrative design. Well, it's appreciated.
Good.
I appreciate playing shooting games, and I want that release. But
Yeah.
but this also is much appreciated. Anyway, just wanted to say that while I have a chance to talk to you in person.
Awesome. Thank you.
Should we move on to some of the big news from the Playdate Community Direct?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So Ollie found this link from GamePure, which we'll link in the show notes. And it's a cool site because they did like a write-up of every announcement at Tiny Yellow Machine's Playdate Community Direct. But there's a ton of ads, so excuse us if we stutter a bit to load the page over and over and over. But Tiny Yellow Machine took submissions for several months from the whole community, and everyone did an outstanding job. All these developers, there were over 30 games shown and announcements shown. All of them had sound and music and animations and whatnot, and made like a big community direct. And this was about 50 minutes long. It was more exciting than some of the major publisher directs that we got over kind of the E3 season in June. And everybody just did a fantastic job. It was really stunning to see this high quality level and delivery of our beloved Playdate news.
Yeah, I have to echo, like, the work, like it far surpassed my expectations in terms of this as a direct, like in terms of the amount of content, the quality of the announcements. A lot of us devs involved in this are just trying to throw something together, like, and the amount of quality and the creativity in the games and the videos, I think it was great job by Tiny Yellow Machine as well, throwing it together. Like, I was so impressed.
Absolutely. Ton of work went into this, and it's quite obvious. Very cool.
Very much a labor of love. And of course, we'll put a link in the show notes. It is still hosted on YouTube. But we're just going to kind of buzz through the list here and give our impressions and whatnot. And some of these games are available now, or there's demos available now, or there's placeholders on itch. But in the article, there's links, I think, to everything, or pretty much everything. So if there's something that piques your interest, you can hop on and dig a little deeper. So it started with Tau, which is sort of what is this, like a Sonic the Hedgehog bonus level, kind of Tempest spinning
3D World Runner meets Tempest.
Yeah. I played this demo, and you use the crank to spin the world while your ship just shoots and you're kind of moving stuff and trying to get through gates. And it works very, very smoothly. So I am excited to play more. The music is very high paced, very energetic. So did you guys give this a try yet?
No, I haven't yet. But the fact is, from the Legend of Vita dev is what sells it, I think. I still haven't played as much as I'd like to of that game, but the quality and the pushing of the device's potential is very high on that game.
I see this one showing up in our high score beatdown channel at some point. Once we figure out the rules, I was able to get to like stage 2, I think. I don't know how, and there's bonus multipliers and stuff, so I see that coming up. Next up was a game called Cranky Dog, and it was a adventure narrative game about dogs growing on trees or something. I don't know, look cute. I'm looking forward to another adventure game on the Playdate. I'm sure Nick will be trying this one.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, sense of humor looks great.
From Mr. Danny Diaz, or Dietz, Under the Castle. I've been watching this one for quite a while. Do you guys know more about this Zelda-style kind of Cadence of Hyrule looking game?
No.
He's been posting updates for like I feel like a year.
Yeah, it looks great. This was the highlight of the show for me. I think this is a game that I'd love to play right now. Like, it's one of those games that I look at and I'm like, I wonder if you're also bringing this to more platforms, because this needs to be seen by as many people as possible, right? Very, very high quality.
Yeah, I hope he is. It looks very much like Crypt of the Necrodancer meets a little bit more Zelda stuff. So that's Under the Castle. Whiteout coming from Scenic Route Software. He's been teasing it for a while. A narrative game, and also You're Gonna Miss the Bus, an endless runner, where you are a little skateboard dude, I think, or you're a little runner guy. I think skateboards were involved at some point.
You can get an optional skateboard power up.
Okay. I think that's coming pretty soon, but it looks really fun. I know he's been working on that for a while. Radar and Rockets out right now on itch from Kota. I need more devs to have names like Pixel Ghost so that I can pronounce them. That's my own ignorance, I guess. But Radar and Rockets, I did play this one. I don't know if you guys tried it, but I need to read some instructions or something. It is not as like cut and dry, easy to figure out as the trailer would lead you to believe.
It sounds like Missile Command with a rotational aspect. Is that the case, or is it quite different?
That's what it looks like, but the radar only shows a tiny sliver, and so you're constantly getting hit, but you can't really control the radar. You control the gun, as far as I can tell. So you'll be getting hit in the dark constantly, and you're kind of waiting for the radar to come around and show you the bleeps. But they're coming way faster than the radar moves, so there's no way to know that they're coming. So I must be missing something. Maybe there's a way to switch between the gun and the radar and speed up the radar and then switch back to the gun and move that. I don't know. I need to dig in deeper, but it is very slick, and the sound and whatnot is great. So check out the trailer for that one. Radar and Rockets. Ribbit Rabbit Special. Ribbit Rabbit was a fairly early Playdate game that we've talked about on the podcast in the past, but this one adds a new biome and some new touches. You guys both played this, I'm guessing?
The original, yes.
I have not, unfortunately, but this will change.
It's like a little adventure Frogger style movement, but an adventure game. Highly recommend checking it out, and it's coming to catalog as well. It's on itch now, but the update is coming to itch if you purchased it in the past. Solar Descent is a retro dungeon crawler. It's got little puzzles and stuff. There's a demo available now. It's a little bit buried, so you might have to search it because the demo came out quite a while ago. Void Blazers. I did notice that I think Ollie backed this one. So, Ollie, have you tried this one?
I haven't tried it yet. I think there's not a demo yet. I have pre-ordered it, though.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. I noticed a lot of them are up for pre-order. So
so my cash is down for this one, but it looks really nice.
Twin stick shooter with no sticks, just the Playdate is what it's advertised as. Looks super slick. I love the ship designs. So that's Void Blazers. Gotta Bounce. Love the trailer for this one. A new Mufla on Cloud game. He's the dev behind Stars of the Screen, which was another fantastic game. I don't know what this game is. I don't think it showed any gameplay footage, but the trailer was still great.
Yeah, I'm not sure I couldn't cope with this trailer. I was trying to figure out what was going on. But I'm very intrigued.
Bouncing will happen soon. So check out the dev's website for updates.
Something's going to happen.
Yes. Beatfish, a game that was part of the last Play Jam from Pizza Dev, if I remember correctly. Pizza Fuel, yes.
Pizza Fuel Dev, yeah. That's right.
Was really fun, a really fun Play Jam game. So now it's getting like a full release and will be coming soon. Crank Blade. Players swing their blade using the crank. I'm kind of glad we're seeing a lot more crank-based games. I know people complain about the crank, so there was like a big push to get away from the crank for a while, and now we're coming back to the crank. It looks like a roguelike, but we don't know a whole lot yet.
Weird story. My friend was watching the direct with me, and he said, the crank. Are you going to get one of those for your Playdate? I'm like, it has a crank. He thought it was like a paid add-on, like a peripheral.
Money marketing opportunity. Yeah. You could add extra cranks.
Second crank, yeah.
Suggest that to Playdate. Yeah. The super crank or something.
Don't need the speaker dock. You just need more cranks.
Well, it's funny because Ollie and I were talking about, what was it, Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Before the show? Yeah. And he didn't notice a mechanic because he wasn't using the crank. So we're so used to not using the crank now because there was so much pushback about using the crank. A bunch of games coming from Ledbetter, one of our favorite devs here. Art and is coming to, well, it is now on itch. It's previously been in the catalog, but now you can get it on itch. And it's got some new art exhibits, and an updated version with new experiences is coming very soon. And also Dog Nose is getting further chapters. Chapter 1 is out right now. You can find out more on his website, which there's a link here. And Bubble, I was all excited because I thought it was out, but it's just he put a placeholder up. So it's going to be like a concept game, an experience. So
I really need to sit down with the art and games and just give them some hours just to go through everything. Like I've dabbled in all of them, and there's some Life's Too Short exhibits in all of them, or most of them. But I really just need to go through, because he'll tell me about things that I had no idea that was in there. So I really need to explore it in depth, because there is a lot more depth than I think a lot of people know in those games.
Something that can help is he announced a physical manual for the art games. He announced during the Playdate Direct. So you can order like a 40-page manual to get through them. But yeah, I mean, he has a poster available for the Halloween edition. Artoween, I think it was called, which I've got over here. Yeah, it's like a whole schematic of where to go. Nice. I could not figure it all out on my own for sure. They're very deep. Nightingale is like a dark adventure game. Looked very spooky, very, I don't know, cool. I thought it was like a demake of Last of Us because the character's name is Ellie, but maybe similar vein from Kodiak Games. Hot. This one really caught my attention. Big fan of the Cure song. But this one, the animation just looks awesome. Kind of like this animation. You're running around delivering donuts on a beach. Do you guys check this one out?
Yeah, it looks very nice. I'm still trying to figure out what the game loop is on it, but it looks very nice. The artwork's great.
I completely missed this one. Is this like Kaboom meets Crazy Taxi kind of deal?
I'm trying to remember Kaboom. I'm thinking of Crackpots. I don't remember Kaboom.
You're catching the bombs as they fall from the...
You're throwing the bombs. You're throwing the donuts at people who are ordering donuts, but you're running back and forth and jumping on a beach. Okay. So a little Diner Dashy, Crazy Taxi-ish, yeah.
Interesting.
The website for that is HotX3 for hot. That's pretty good. Hannah, puzzle game. Not a whole lot of details. You're a special agent. King of Shibuya. We'll have to check that one out more. Looks like it was made in pulp.
Yeah, it looks pulpy.
Finally getting a realistic fishing simulator, which we thought we'd be getting hundreds of, but
there's a lot of pressure on this as the first big fishing game.
Absolutely. Who is this coming from? Oh, this is coming from Toad. Totally Under Control. It looks really fun. It looks like there's a lot of features.
Yeah, looks really nice.
I can't wait to play this one. Yeah. And Santos Sisters, of course, a fantastic comic book that keeps mentioning the Playdate inside of the advertising of the comic book. So the next issue is coming soon with another Playdate nod, which is really cool. Playdate camera, built by Tom Granger.
The thing I'm most excited about.
So you want to talk about it, Nick?
Sure. So this is a totally open source peripheral for your Playdate. It uses the USB-C port, and it's powered through an Arduino hooked to a camera sensor. And there's a 3D printed box that holds the camera sensor in the Arduino. And you put everything together using the bill of materials that's provided in the GitHub repository, and then compile the code for the Arduino and install a little Playdate app, and it can speak to the Arduino through the USB-C. And there's a battery built in to the bill of materials, so it's actually charging the Playdate at the same time that you're using it. It's so impressive, though, because having played just a little bit with the SDK, I know some of the limitations on how file handling works, and stuff like that. So they're doing some they, meaning Tom Granger, is doing some pretty impressive stuff with individual frame storage. So effects can be applied to photos that are taken, just like the Game Boy camera, if you're familiar with that. But also rudimentary videos can be taken, sort of like animated GIFs, by turning the crank for a period of time, and then those are kind of mashed together and stored on the Playdate. Very, very impressive. Very impressive. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people are able to do with that. The little camera module box thing allows the Playdate to be mounted in such a way that you have the camera pointing away from the Playdate or towards the Playdate, so you can put it in like a selfie mode or kind of a rear camera mode. Anyway, just if you can't tell, I'm really, really impressed by this. And I'm looking forward to seeing more about it over time and seeing how it grows and changes.
And it's mounted with the magnets on the Playdate, right?
Yes, yeah. So the
Really cool.
little screw terminals, and then you put some magnets in the 3D printed object. So pretty cool, very clever.
Yeah, this is really neat. And you can build it right now. The instructions are up on GitHub.
Yep. Just takes a soldering iron and some time, some patience.
Mm-hmm. Next up from possibly Axolotl is a game called Shroomville. All we know is that it's coming soon, or the word soon is somehow involved. That's all we know. But looks cute. Choo Choo Mimic coming from Low Tech Games and what is the other guy's name? Some famous YouTuber guy. I can't think of his name. John something. You guys are a lot of help today. Anyway, it's a takeoff of Choo Choo Rocket. Similar gameplay type, but looks really cool. It's coming to NES first, or NES emulators, I guess. Yeah, and okay. I'm sure it'll come to Dreamcast and Evercade and whatnot as well. But it is coming to Playdate, so very excited to check that out eventually.
Yeah, this looks really nice. Another one, like high production, looks like good fun. You can see how this can get more and more complex off of a relatively simple idea.
Mm-hmm. I like that it has the little sidebars too. Like it's got a marquee on the side of the screen. What's this next game? Ollie, maybe you want to take the wheel on this one.
So the next game is Life's Too Short Unhooked, which is the full sequel to Life's Too Short. There is another sequel to Life's Too Short, which is kind of a semi-sequel, which is Life's Too Short Christmas Spirit. But yeah, this is the little ghost is called up again. In the first game, he's sort of called up to fix a vampire's relationship, and in this one, he's called up by a pirate captain whose 4 wives have left him to get them back. Which every time I say it, I almost regret the story, but you don't help him, trust me. You get to meet some amazing characters, lots of puzzles. This is way bigger scope than the previous games. I think all in all, maybe an hour or two play. I still need to iron out having some sort of flow so people get to the ending, because I really like the ending. But yeah, there's a lot more here than in the previous games. And for the direct, I wrote, produced, and sang a sea shanty about the story.
I saw you posting that in the comments, I think, on YouTube. People were talking about you singing and whatnot, and I was like, whoa, this dude's voice is way gruffer than his games.
Yeah, there were some effects on on the voice as well, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay, that's really cool. Is there a save state on Life's Too Short if it's a 2-hour game?
There is a save state, yeah. I've managed to... When I released the first game, I didn't realize that there weren't save states built into Pulp, so I made the whole thing and then realized that I had to program it as I went along. This time I did that as I went along. So Time from Earth has kind of a rudimentary save state thing where it saves which day you're on, and each day only can play out in a certain way. Whereas in this, when you save and exit, it saves every variable, and there are variables that will also change how things look in the space. If you pick something up, it'll hide it if the variable is a certain way. So I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it, but it's the best way I've figured out. And I think it's pretty close to working as it should as well. So yeah, I'm quite amazed that it's come together that way.
Cool. Well, as podcasters that play a lot of different Playdate games, we're very happy to hear saves on any game.
Yeah.
We like to bounce back and forth. It looks like this dude has 2 hook hands.
He does. He has 2 hooks, 2 eye patches, 2 peg legs.
Oh,
Very
2
unfortunate.
Yeah. He's done it to himself to become the ultimate pirate. It's come from his own insecurities, which you'll learn more about. But yeah, it's more his doing than being unfortunate.
Well, I can't wait to hear more of his tale and play it soon. August 29th, right?
August 29th, yeah.
All
Nice.
right. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking about it more soon.
Mm-hmm.
And next up is Along Came a Spider, Valley of the Hollow. We've talked to the dev, George Banks, in the past. I can't remember what episode it was. It was around 20 or so. But looking forward to this. I did not know what game this was when the trailer started. Like, this looks very different than the first Along Came a Spider. Like, it's really upped the, I guess, production value of a Playdate game, which is weird to say. But yeah, this looks way bigger and way more ambitious than the first Along Came a Spider, which was also a very good game. So
Yeah.
very
I have to add
see what it
that
is.
the Fat Nose Games and George's patience with animation in pulp is incredible. Like, having to the amount of character that he manages to get through his animation is amazing, but it's painstaking. It's really difficult to do animation in pulp for bigger sprites. So again, it's another great example of that.
I wouldn't have even known this was pulp. As big as these sprites look, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, a lot goes into that.
We'll have to give him somebody will have to give him a little crash course, I guess. He'll have to crank it up. CS16, this is available right now for free. It's a synthesizer, and in the comments on YouTube, everyone was going nuts. So I don't know much about this stuff, but there's some sort of synthesizer system on the Playdate, which is cool. And it's open source. Like, they posted the source code and whatnot. Everybody was excited about that too. So go make some songs.
Yeah, very cool. The Playdate has a really nice synthesizer chip built in. So I've been waiting to see more applications that allow you to manipulate that directly, kind of like boogie loops. So this looks like a more in-depth style of boogie loops. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick will be working on a new intro music for the podcast very soon.
It's one solid tone.
Yeah, one long loop. Next up is Mindbap from Jamote. And this is sort of a Minecraft Playdate game. So it's supposed to come out this month. So very soon. Have you guys heard of Trickle Greenweed Mermaid at Law?
I had not heard of this. I was very confused at this point.
That's an amazing title.
Yeah.
It is. It's like a Phoenix Wright kind of game.
Yeah.
It was a very long trailer, and it says that it was released on Game Boy in recent years.
Huh.
I'd never heard of it, but it is coming soon.
That's very exciting to me.
Yeah. Resident Tale. This one looked pretty cool. I guess this is pulp. Like, it's very dense though. Like, there's a lot of detail, and it looked a lot like Link's Awakening, very closely inspired by, Link to the Past, inspired by those. Well, both of those games, I guess. So it's an adventure game with puzzles and whatnot. Coming eventually. Gun Trails coming very soon, July 18th. That's like by the next episode, we will probably play this twin stick shooter in quotes on the Playdate. Yeah, looks amazing. Graphics are amazing. I think we've mentioned it in the past. I can't believe it's coming that soon. Snatchy Carrots, one of our favorite games on which Zanya Lasagna release was this? It was the bundle game,
It's
right?
in the bundle,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a standalone game now. You like run around, collect carrots as fast as you can, and so it's a high score chaser. And now it's going to be its own standalone game, alongside a comic book with the story of the game on September 30th. So it's really fun. Highly recommend checking that out when it comes out. And then the Fun in the Sun bundle, 10 games for $20. Started July 6th, and runs through August 10th. I think some of your games are in the bundle, right, Ollie?
No, none of mine
No?
in this bundle. No,
Oh, you're in a different bundle, or you're in
I've
your own
been
bundle?
in like every bundle since.
Okay.
There's also the Pixel Ghost bundle, where you can get 3 of my games for some discount. But yeah, I'm not in this one.
Okay, my mistake. This one has Reach the Ocean, Pocket Pets, Distill My Beating Heart, King's Dungeon. Now that's what I call Pulp. Dreamer Adventure, which I don't know that I've heard of. Check, Dungeons and Doggos, Art and Dognose Chapter 1. So very good games, and that's at 10 games for $20, so $2 each. Great deal there.
Yeah.
So again, that's running through August 10th. And I think this was... Oh, we're getting near the end here. Space Rat Miner. I love these digging games, these mining games. This one looked to be no exception. Very detailed graphics and whatnot. Coming later this year.
Yeah, this was another highlight. This looks like very, very high quality game.
Got the oxygen bar. That's all I need. Ways to make that oxygen bar bigger. Interests me.
Mr.
And Echoes of
Driller.
the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah,
Driller
Mr.
style,
Driller.
yeah.
I played Pocket Mine for hours and hours and hours on my phone. Echoes of the Emergent. Nick, this is from the devs of Bloom. Releasing in fall 2023. Very slick, cyberpunky looking game. So there'll be more updates as the game is closer to release. I could tell just from the font they used. This is from that dev. Was it RNG?
RNG, yeah.
I think
RNG
Party Games.
Party, yeah.
Yes.
They've already taken my money on the pre-order, so I will buy anything that they release. I think Bloom is just incredible, and it's amazing that it was, it's one of the first games that launched, pre-ordered before the device came out, and is such a great example of what works really well on the Playdate. I love the fact that you could go back each day or every few hours. The story was great, very chilled. The crank, very simple use of the crank, but really well done. And the artwork, I just think it's just such a great example of what the Playdate's all about.
Highly agree. Yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot of mileage out of all the little features of the Playdate right out of the gate.
Yeah.
They set the bar pretty high. So, and way to go out on a bang with that one too. With that announcement. So anyway, so that's the Playdate Community Direct. Tiny Yellow Machine. The goal is to release one of these directs every quarter, which is very ambitious, but pretty cool. So we would get one around the holidays, which is amazing. Yeah, if we're lucky, we get Nintendo Directs, and we definitely don't get Sony and Microsoft Directs that often. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was cool kind of joining the community to talk about all this stuff. So any final thoughts or...
No, just great work. I just think, like I said, it was such a good direct. So many surprises, so much creativity coming through, and look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. So if you have the time, watch the whole thing. But if there are things in there that were highlights, jump on and check out those links in the article. Some of the items we mentioned already are in the indie inventory. So we'll just mention those real quick as we go. But we do have some new games in the inventory. We got like this huge flood of games this week and a lot of news, which was really cool. It's like people were waiting for this. So like we said, Void Blazers, Ollie has that $5 pre-order in. Blockbuster, we mentioned very briefly. This did come out about a week ago. It's sort of a Tetris-y type pieces, but they're not falling. You just place them on a grid. And the page doesn't want to open for me. But read the instructions. There's a tutorial in the game. I went in without reading it and could not figure out what was going on. But yeah, you want to read the instructions. You have like a life bar, so you can overlap pieces, and it does damage to your health. But sometimes that's what you need to do to fully fill the board.
Yeah, I also didn't read the instructions and didn't realize that you couldn't rotate your pieces. So that I was playing the whole time like, this is a bit like Tetris on a square, but you can't rotate the pieces. Allegedly, you can rotate the pieces.
Confirmed, you can. You just use the crank.
I was just playing on hard mode. You just don't rotate the pieces.
Impossible mode, yeah, low score mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, use the crank, turn the pieces. It is pretty challenging though because you're like cranking and moving and yeah, securing in place. But a pretty slick little puzzle game. $4 from Dardoyle. Brian Dorsey, Backyard Rain Soundscape. Not really a game, but there's a lot of features here. It's worth mentioning. Use the crank to crank up the rain.
I need to give this a go as well.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. I like ambient sound. I like different things done with the Playdate, and that's kind of cool. Anyway, Radar and Rockets $2.99. We mentioned that during the direct. Ausbruch from Klickoffen. I don't know German. This is. I normally don't put this kind of thing on here because it's a alpha game, but it just looks cool. I don't know. It's like a brick breaker, but the bricks are like bricks in a dungeon. And so I've been playing this, and it's definitely has some bugs and whatnot, but the dev is very responsive to those bugs, and he's got some dev threads going in the on the itch page. So leave your feedback, and he'll respond and back and forth. But there's some funny little voice drops and whatnot in the game. It's cool seeing the dev so excited about his game and reacting and going back and forth. So
yeah, that's cool. It's a really interesting idea and spin on the formula. I had a little play before we started recording. It definitely needs a little bit of TLC, a bit of work on like the play feel and getting the angles right, so that you feel like you can aim the ball a bit more. But the idea of being able to break through to the next room and then moving up to the next room, and it's a very smart idea.
Did you get slowdown on your device when you're breaking the bricks?
I don't think I got slowdown. I just found it difficult to be able to send the ball in the direction that I wanted it to.
Yeah, it needs a little English on the pad there. I got a lot of slowdown as the bricks were breaking. They would really stutter, but it's still fun. And there's little spiders, and he added a rat, I guess, yesterday that runs around. You can hit the rat. I haven't updated it, but anyway, I'm interested to see where this goes.
It's a required element for Playdate games.
Yeah, we need frogs and rats, I guess. And then CS16 was the last one, which was that synthesizer out free right now. Our Pixel Panel game chosen by Ollie. Ollie, you want to drive the car on our Pixel Panel game here?
Yeah, I mean,
drive the car on our Pixel Panel game here.
It's very good, very good. It had to be this game. I think this has been one that's been coming for a while. P Racer. P Racer or P Racing? Have I just messed it up completely?
Racing, yeah.
P Racing.
Gotta edit that out now too.
Okay.
Not really. I don't edit anything.
So P Racing. So this has been in the works for a while. We've seen a lot of this in terms of videos and demos coming through. But in terms of one of the big launches that's come through recently, I think we had to cover it. So it's a racer, lots of different modes in there, time attacks, and it's even got it's got missions through a city. And what's the game I'm looking for? The football racing
Rocket League.
Rocket League. It's even got like a Rocket League mini game as well. So there's tons of content here. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah, there's so many modes. I thought it was just going to be like a Mario Kart kind of clone, but very well done on the Playdate because he's been posting images for so long. Yeah. But then you jump into the game and there's like a million modes, and even in there a million options. Did you guys get into like messing with your suspension and whatnot?
Yeah.
Oh, of course Nick did. What did you notice Did you notice a big difference when you did?
No.
Okay. It looked slick, but I didn't mess with my suspension either.
No, I haven't yet.
You can adjust the crank sensitivity and whatnot to a minute amount. Nick, you're nodding. Did you mess with the crank sensitivity?
I did.
Did it help?
No.
That's specifically in crank to steer mode, is it?
Yes.
Because at first I was trying to figure out why you could adjust the crank sensitivity, and I was trying to use
when
the
you
crank.
don't use the crank.
Is this making the car go faster, or like? And so yeah, no,
You have to
I
crank to
haven't
start.
adjusted
That's-
anything either.
Yeah,
You do have
it's
to crank to start. That is a strong little touch. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
where do you crank to start? I was just kidding. Is there a crank to start?
Yeah, when you start the game, you crank to start.
Oh, okay.
Is there?
Oh, maybe you've had it on all week, but when you
Yeah.
first start the game, you crank to
Crank
start
it up.
the game.
Yeah. Okay, that's ringing a bell.
Did you try the replays at all, Nick?
I did, yeah, just to see how they function. I watched myself fail over and over again. Yeah.
I kept meaning to, and I forgot to try it out. So it just saves the file, like your whole race or a clip, or
It's the whole thing. I think. It's been. I did that the first day I was messing with it.
okay.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the whole thing, and it just plays it back.
So let's see. Let me just go over the modes real quick: race, missions, time trial, arena, free ride, challenges, and then your replays and your settings. The missions and the challenges are like achievements. So I don't. Let's see. I didn't finish any of them. Things like driving on the curb for 80 seconds. So some of them are just kind of like dumb fun. One of them was making drivers angry. Was there? Did you guys make any drivers angry? I didn't
No.
notice. I tried ramming into people. I didn't notice any difference. If I made them angry, I have a 0 out of 5. So I guess ramming them didn't make them angry enough.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I haven't had any of the achievement challenges. Is it?
Challenges, yes.
Yeah, I haven't done any. I haven't completed any of those, but played through some of the missions. Some of them are very difficult.
They're all very difficult.
Yeah.
You have to like taking pictures of birds as you drive through the city, or there was one where there was like a heist, and you have to
Yeah.
like drive away with somebody else, and then have to chase a van, and it's quite difficult, I think, at the moment.
The two that I did complete were the gear shifting, which I kind of liked. Like
I
you
did
use the
too.
crank to change gears, and it's just a slider, and it moves up and down. You have to very quickly reach the desired point on the slider, which was pretty fun. But some of the other missions are very similar to each other. Like I think even the sprint and the gear shifting are kind of basically the same thing. But like deliveries and I think north to south were almost the same thing. There's a couple bird catching ones. Really, the biggest drawback was the constant timer. Like the restrictions for each mode are very, very, very strict.
Mhm.
There's really no room for error. Did you guys ever play Stuntman on like the PS2?
Yes.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Stuntman, where you had to nail everything perfect or you start over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was great when you did it, but it might be hours of just trying to nail everything perfect before you did it. And with as many options are in here, I wish there was a little more room for error or options to change things. Even the tutorial is like you got to nail it.
Mm-hmm.
Chasing that van, I think, is the first tutorial just to learn how to steer, and the van will turn a corner very quick. And if you go past it and have to like drive onto the grass to
You're
kind of
done.
get back to it, forget it. The van's gone.
Yeah, it certainly opens up our conversation again around difficulty in games after Castle Tintagel. Yeah, rather than get good, I think some adjustment would be great on this to open up, because some of the missions are really interesting. I think what they've managed to do here is outstanding, but I'd love to be able to finish more of the missions.
Yeah, technically it's a 10 out of 10.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's technically extremely impressive, but as you've mentioned, the very stringent timer is a problem. The dialogue or the mission display, I think could use a little tweak, and maybe that's where perhaps the mission timer could be more readily explained rather than just having to kind of cast your glance up there as you start. Um, it's a little abrupt. You're thrown into the city, and then there's a little, you know, uh, brief description, maybe one window, maybe two windows worth of description, and you're pressing the button that accelerates typically to get past that. Barely have an idea of what you're doing, and then you're cast into, sort of a semi-open world racetrack in order to do it. I found very, very challenging to figure out what you're trying to do, especially like the bird catching missions. There's 3 or 4 of them, and um, spotting the birds themselves is its own challenge. I find that they blend into the background very easily for me. So maybe a change to that sprite to make it, or texture. I'm not sure if it's 3D or if it's sprite based, but whatever the case is, it's difficult for my old eyes to be able to differentiate them. And like the Rocket League style soccer match was impossible. I could never see the ball um, to actually play. Uh, and every race I came in 5th. I didn't even really realize until the 2nd or 3rd race that I was racing against others, because everybody zoomed off immediately. And even if I was, mashing on the accelerator, I did not. So I don't know, exactly what I'm doing wrong, but obviously something in every mode. So it feels like there's a little more player hand holding or communication that needs to happen, maybe to make it a little more friendly for people like me who are bad at racing games.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's something I was doing wrong, because I was sort of accelerating and then just dropping the accelerator as I went around corners, like touching it on and on, but not really using the brake very much, and that sort of seemed to work. I wonder if there's like a layer I'm missing, because it's very simple in theory, but there's just like that idea of having to get it absolutely like spot on to beat the mission or get the time.
Yeah. And
did you guys try the time trials at all?
I tried one.
Yeah, a little bit.
So the time trials, after you finish a lap, it'll show your ghost. And then I like that because then it gives you, okay, well, I did this lap in this pattern. So I should be able to improve on that pattern against this ghost. And it also gives you a leaderboard. So like, okay, well, if I did it in this time, some other human being did it in this other time. So there should be corners I cut. So the first time I did a time trial, I felt like, oh, I didn't mess up at all. Like, oh, I'm one of the best in the world. I did it perfect. Like I nailed it. And then I find out like I'm in 20th place. And then the second lap, my ghost beat, or my ghost beat me, or I didn't beat my ghost or whatever. Like I feel like I did even better the second lap, but I didn't beat my ghost, or yeah, I'm just holding the accelerator the whole time. There's no like cutting corners. There's no using the brake to kind of get around things, which is fine. But I did like the leaderboard show that another human being could do it. But I'm losing my train of thought a little bit. But without that like back and forth of being able to like set maybe the leader's ghost to see kind of like how they did it, and that might be impossible to do on the Playdate. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that would add some longevity to the game, or maybe I could look up on YouTube to see how these better players are doing it if they recorded their best laps. I didn't have the problem you did, Nick, with doing bad in the regular races. I did okay. I don't think I ever got first, but I wasn't placing last. I don't think. I was kind of in the middle of the track. But if you mess up at all, the pack will leave you. But there was some rubber banding. I did notice that.
Oh yeah.
The AI will rubber band. They'll slow down so you can catch up.
That's interesting.
Well, apparently not enough.
Well, maybe it depends on the track. There is
I tried
there is
4
not
of
an
them.
oval track. Okay.
Yeah, and each one I failed abysmally. So I'm not. There's something I feel that I'm missing in the way that it controls. I've certainly played other racing games. The one that visually this feels most similar to for me is F1 Race, but like a very enhanced F1 Race. So that's an original Game Boy game, and
Oh, I
it's one
remember
that I
that.
poured a ton of hours into.
That was the
Uh,
4-player game, right?
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Um, so I was very excited, but then yeah, uh, I must have the governor on or something. I can only go 20 miles an hour or something while everybody else is going 55. But anyway, it's it it's definitely fun, and I see how a lot of people could get a lot of enjoyment out of this game, and it's extremely technically impressive. But it's unfortunately I don't think this is a Nick game in its current state.
Yeah, I think overall, like I was trying to think how I felt about it, like whether it's you know outstanding technical achievement, whether it's like a proof of concept, whether it's like a really great demo for the tech. But I think fundamentally where I've landed on it is I think even in its current state now, it's like an essential purchase for any Playdate owner just to see what's possible on the device. And I think even now the racing is fun. But I think beyond that, I think the sky's the limit if the dev is still working on it. I think adjusting some of the difficulty, if there's any way to adjust some of the racing, because I play it and I think, oh, this feels a little bit like Mario Kart. If only it had this, or the city feels a little bit like Driver or Stuntman. If only it had this, and then obviously the Rocket League feels like, oh, if only the physics were a bit more like this, but it's on a play date. Like
Mm-hmm.
like it's it's an incredible achievement already, and it's already fun to play. But if they continue working on this, like this could be so much more. Even it's so smooth the way it runs. Like it
Mm-hmm.
feels good to play already as well. So yeah, I think generally blown away. But I'd love to see more updates for this, like more things coming through.
Yeah, if there was a little bit more fudge room, a little bit more room for error, it would be a lot more fun to play. But technically, everything ran super smooth. It was fun to do races. The races and time trials were my favorite part. The restrictive nature of the open world made that less fun, but there's the potential is there. If it wasn't so restrictive time wise, then it would still be fun to drive around the open world.
Mm.
I enjoy driving around the open world, but then the time would cut me off pretty quick.
Did you do any of the free roam mode?
Um, I did, but it just kind of felt a little bit pointless. Um, I don't do free driving stuff in games. I like to have something to do. Did you mess with the map stuff? Like you can open up the map and kind of look around. You can turn on the mini map in the corner.
Yeah, that was essential for me, especially in some of the missions where you're there's like a crazy taxi. Apparently, that's the only reference that I can make this episode is crazy taxi. There's like a crazy taxi mode where you're maybe it's the heist mission where you're going between these different points, and they're delineated with these giant arrows, crazy taxi style. Um, and yeah, that one was very challenging. I needed the map for that, uh, for sure.
I
Never
remember
passed
the
it,
points
but
on the map. I don't remember the giant arrows. But yeah, I found myself referring to the map quite a bit in one of the game modes. I wish the mini map would rotate the other direction because like you're driving down the map and I want it to auto rotate and go up the map. Does that make sense? Yakuza is like the worst at this too. Like Yakuza does not auto rotate, so you're like, I guess I'm going down and then left, and when you're going up and right in the game,
Mm.
this is kind of the same thing. And the Rocket League one, Nick, you can adjust the camera so that it tracks the ball or doesn't it track the ball,
hmm okay.
which I appreciated. That's something that's in Rocket League.
I changed the level of detail, hoping that would make a
Oh, what does
difference.
that do?
It makes it very slightly less crisp.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't notice the difference because at one point it asked me to do that. I think it wasn't keeping up with whatever was happening in the mission, and it said, "Oh, do you want to adjust the detail down?" But I didn't really notice the difference.
I don't know if it changes the draw distance or if it has other, technical implications, but it seemed to make like the ball in that mode less crisp than it was. More dithering, maybe. I don't know exactly what how the rendering is happening, but at any rate, the ball was basically invisible both ways, so didn't help.
It's like a cute little mode. I didn't get very far. My teammate made a couple goals, but it was still like 2-5 or something on the Rocket League mode.
That mode's interesting, but it maybe needs the most work for it to become fun. I'd love to see like a video of someone actually having a competitive match in that, because it either feels like I can just walk it straight in because the enemy AI is not responding, or I can't hit the ball anywhere where I like, and I'm absolutely awful at Rocket League at the best of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. I wish you could play as the cars that are in the Rocket League mode though, or the arena mode. They're kind of cool looking.
Oh, you look like trucks.
Yeah. Oh, and Nick, I was gonna say, did you try the airport level? You're just like on a tarmac and there's birds everywhere.
Yeah, that's one of the bird missions, I guess. Right?
Yeah. That one kind of trained my eye more for what a bird looks like in the distance. So after I did that mode where I was catching a bunch of birds, which I still failed, even though there's birds everywhere, it made it easier to catch birds in the city.
Yeah, I was bad at that mode. I was bad in the city. I'm bad at catching birds, Don.
It's tough to spot the birds.
Yeah. But yeah, I knew what vague shapes they had, but I wasn't able to pick them out quick enough, especially in the city, where they're sitting on top of light poles and the like.
Cool. Well, it sounds like we have mixed feelings about the game. Technically awesome, a little punishing, still worth checking out.
Yeah, I really hope the dev's still working on it. Maybe I need to check them out on social media. But with a few tweaks, with a few updates, I already think that it's definitely worth picking up. But yeah, this could really be something amazing for the platform.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and I did look at leaderboards to look for your names. I didn't see them, which is kind of weird.
I'm not very good at leaderboards.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. 10 people on every leaderboard. But it was nice to see in game, like, oh, I'm 20th. I don't know how many people are playing. I did like that it gave you a score, because some games, I'm trying to think of, there was one of them, it only shows the top 5. And so if you didn't get the top 5, it's just, you don't know what you got. A different game, not P-Racing. Well, anyway, I guess that's our chat. Is there anything you guys want to say? Anything else you want to say?
Just, again, outstanding technical achievement. And I'm interested to see what kind of doors this opens for other developers. Just seeing what is possible. This kind of very fast, real-time 3D-esque open world interface it has a lot of possibilities, and it's surprising that it runs as amazingly smoothly as it does on the Playdate. So I'm curious where the tech will lead. But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's always lots of different directions that devs are going on with the Playdate. There's people putting their first foot into pulp and doing something there. There's others who are making something that fits the device really well as an indie, or maybe porting something over from somewhere else. And then there's this group of devs who are like really trying to challenge like what you can put on there, like Legend of Etad. Someone's making Castle Wolfenstein. I think I've seen like exploring what you can do in in 3D or faux 3D or whatever you'd call it. But it's always interesting to see what different folks are doing to kind of push the limit here.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I did not expect to see this type of stuff on the Playdate for sure. It's always cool when you see a GIF or something somebody posts and you're like, "Whoa, that's Playdate." And for sure, P Racing is one of those games. You think somebody just put a filter on a video. So cool. Well, Ollie, thank you. Good pick. And this is an unlikely pick, so it's kind of cool to have a guest judge come in with something different. So very cool. I did not pick a game for next week for our next show, so I'll have to come up with something for next time. I'll post it in the Discord and on what's the new thing? Blue Sky or Mastodon. We'll get it on one of those. Ollie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Much better boopless chair, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's going to be doubling the boops in the next show, I'm sure, to make up for it.
No. Don't tempt him.
He's going to have pent up boops after no boops.
He can scream him into a pillow or something. Hopefully he's safe wherever he's at. But go check out pixel-ghost.itch.io. Will be in the show notes. And play all of Ollie's games. They're all very, I don't know if I'd call it hidden fun, but they're all worth playing. They're all, excellent examples. Thought-provoking, yes.
There you go. And especially Life's Too Strange 2 Unhooked, which, what's the release date again? Yeah. Life's Too Short? What did I say?
Life's Too Strange. We've also got Life's Too Quick from the strange article that came out recently. Life's all these things.
Life is everything, right?
Time to Earth, yes.
Thank you again. This is one of, I listen to lots of podcasts, and this is definitely one of my favorites. So thank you for all of your support for Playdate and the community as well, and thanks for having me on.
We'll be sure to get you some podcast recommendations after this is
over. You need to raise the bar on your device there. Yeah. Well, you can check us out on Discord. There'll be a link in the show notes, and our website is playdatepodcast.com. Thank you so much, and we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, Nick has something to say. Don't go away.
I have an announcement. Yeah. So I just released updates for 4 of my commercial pinball games, and one of them has secret Playdate connectivity. So if you happen across one of my games in the wild, try mashing some buttons, see what happens.
Nick, that would have been a cool thing to add to the Playdate Direct.
It would have. Well, it wasn't released at the time. So
yeah, lots of the stuff in the Direct isn't released.
There's another Direct coming soon.
Yeah, Nick.
Could happen. Could happen. Well, anyway, check it out.
Check it out. Yeah, go find that Playdate Easter egg on a physical pinball machine. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Bye.